Hey Janey, can I study and work enough to pay my tuition in Canada? Whew, that's a tough one, but actually a simple one, which I'm going to be answering in this video. And I'm not only just going to answer, I'm going to show you how the answer plays out. Hi, if you're new, hello beautiful people. My name is Janey, aka Janey of Canada, and on this channel I'll talk about everything in life as an immigrant professional. So if you're interested in studying, being a permanent resident, a career professional, opening a business, all of that is what we discuss here. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please subscribe. It helps me know that there's someone like you who actually cares. But to answer the question, let's get into the video. So this answer might actually sound disappointing, but the truth is it is almost impossible to pay for your tuition with working here in Canada. Hear me out. First of all, usually when you get an acceptance into a school here in Canada, you're required to pay a deposit. So you have to have that money. You also are required to show something like a proof of funds or a statement of account when you're applying for your study permit. So you need to have some money prior to coming to Canada. And I've talked about this, that this money typically should look like your tuition, give or take, or the amount that's required and the cost of living in Canada. However, why I say it's a no or almost impossible, there is nothing impossible under the sun. I'm going to first show you the numbers on how it actually plays out, taking into account costs like rent, taking into account minimum wage and all of that stuff very shortly. But something you need to know is, as an international student to Canada, you're only allowed to work 20 hours a week during school term. However, during the holidays, you can work up to full-time in internships or side paying gigs. Please note that if you're an international student, you need to make sure that you work nothing more than 20 hours a week, because if you're caught, you can actually be breaking the terms of your acceptance, your study permit into Canada, and sent back. I've heard of situations like that. You don't want to be in that situation. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like to work and study in Canada, and then you can actually answer it for yourself. Okay, so I've taken the liberty to actually do the math off camera, and I just want to show you what it really looks like if you're really trying to figure it out and pay for your tuition working. So if you're working 20 hours per week, which is the maximum you're allowed to work as an international student, the average minimum wage is $15 per hour. It's actually cheaper in places like New Brunswick and Manitoba, which is around $11, so you're going to be making less money there. So if we don't average the highest amount, that means you're making $300 per week, which will multiply by the 4 weeks that we have in a month. You're going to be making $1,200 per month. So I've now taken into consideration the average rent for a one bed in Toronto is $2,040, which means that already it's not going to work if you're working in and living in Toronto. So Toronto is out of it. Let's imagine Toronto is out of it. If we go to a place like the Grand Prairies in Alberta and say rent there for one bed is $825, so we're going to take $825 as the number, which is one of the minimum amounts of rent in Canada. You also don't want to go there, it gets to like minus 51 degrees. And I don't know any schools in Grand Prairie, but oh well. Let's say you're in Grand Prairie, you're paying $825 per month for your rent. Now we're going to take in the average cost of living in Canada, which is around $1,000 a month. If you're really scrappy as a student, you can do within $600 to $800. But when you take into consideration food, water, health insurance, transportation, and the initial setup cost of buying books, laptops, all of that, this is not, the $600 to $800 is not feasible. So, but for the sake of this math, let's just take $600 as the number we're going to be taking away, which brings this to $1,425, meaning that you're going to be at a deficit of $225 anyways, meaning that working and schooling cannot even afford you just paying your regular cost of living and your rent typically, which is why you need extra money. Say scrap all of this information that I've just given you. You have somebody somewhere that can take care of your rent, your living free, and maybe also take care of your cost of living, and you just only want to wonder, really, can working in Canada pay my tuition? Say this is the number of hours you're working, and then the total you can actually work a month is $1,200 per month. If we multiply this by 12, The answer to this is, if we multiply this by 12, you're going to be making 14,400 a year, meaning that average tuition, and the average tuition in Canada is $15,000. You can't even make enough in a year to pay your tuition, given by this number if everything else is covered. So I don't say this to discourage you, but I just wanted to give you the math to let you know that you even need to pay a deposit down ahead of time and pay your tuition before you start working. So the math doesn't even add up, okay? Okay, please note that, like I said, it's almost impossible. I know, and I've heard of people who have been able to get really scrappy, but a lot of times what they're able to get from their side work really is extra money to live and pay their expenses, where tuition is already covered by themselves, their parents, or their guardians, and then they come here and the money they need for bills, aka rent, moving, transportation, food, all of that stuff, they have to work to pay, which is typically what makes the most sense. You can do it. It's really hectic and it might take a toll on your education, which at the end of the day would not make sense. But because then you get kicked out, which is not what you want. Some people are able to get away with that. My husband even talks about like his early years in Canada, where he actually worked in factories and was able to support with payment of his tuition, a part of it, not the entire thing, as well as his own upkeep here in Canada. So I hope that this doesn't actually completely turn you off, but I need you to know that if studying in Canada is in a future plan for you, you need to start saving up, right? Any plans usually that have a huge commitment such as this requires careful and adequate planning, and this is what we can support you with. And you can talk to folks in Canada, get a sense of how much they need it, find people in your program, get some support from family. You can ask family to support you for your studies, sort of like a donation or an investment into your future, because if you come to Canada and you're able to work, you can be able to send some money back home or pay the people who have supported you with the loan to go study. Some people will get scholarships if you're really bright. Some people will get bursaries and grants. Some people will get loans, and I've talked about that in previous videos that I will link in the video below. But practically, if you're thinking that you will come to Canada while you're studying and you'll be able to work the entire time, pay your tuition and your upkeep, the answer is no. I don't mean to discourage you. I just want you to know the reality of what it is like really studying and working in Canada. There are not a lot of side jobs, and the side jobs that exist a lot of times take a toll on you as a person, which will also take a toll on your studies, okay? But I don't want to leave you with a negative answer. I've shared that there's other options you can use to raise money, and I hope that really helps you. So like I said, I have just shown you the math, but I'm not saying this to discourage you. If you think you can beat the numbers and make it somehow, please let me know how you did it. I want to learn from your story and share with other people that somebody was able to pay for their tuition with working the minimum number of hours or the maximum number of hours that they're required to work. But I hope this was helpful. If it was, please give it a like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next